Welcome to another 25-minute video as part of NSCC's 25th anniversary. My name is Ronda Frigault. I'm NSCC alumni as well as pipe trades faculty at the IT campus. And this is Justin.
Thanks, Ronda, and welcome to the heart of the Valley. We're here at my site today, the Annapolis Valley campus here in Middleton. I'm the plumbing instructor here at the campus, and I'm an alumni of the plumbing program as well. We're in the Billigan House today. Billigan is derived from the Mi'kmaq word new house. This is a living lab for the students to work and learn in.
So today we're going to give you a quick demo on how to install your own kitchen faucet.
Typically, plumbing should be left to the trained professionals like Ronda and myself. We're both certified in the trade, but you can handle a small reno like we're going to cover today. Just know if you get yourself in trouble, make sure you reach out to a trained, certified professional.
Before tackling a project like this, one of the first things you have to do is choose which faucet you want. I don't know about you, Justin, but some people like cars. I love kitchen faucets.
And if we're going to pick out a set of faucets, it's important that we pick out the right faucet to the right sink that we have at our house. Right now, what type of faucets are we dealing with if we're going to replace these, Ronda?
Well, and this one is just a single lever, single hole kitchen faucet, but we're going to replace it with something really nice.
Yeah, it's going to match. It's going to be similar to a single lever and a single hole, because if I went to the Home Depot or the other big box stores and bought a 3-hole faucet, it's not going to fit the application that I have here in front of me. So just ensure that you're matching the faucet to what you have at your own house.
One thing I'm going to recommend though is always try to choose a faucet that's a brand name, because they're probably going to come with a manufacturer warranty, and if they break, you're going to be able to find parts to fix them. If you buy a no-name brand faucet, in a year's time, you're just going to be throwing it away. So Justin, this is the beautiful kitchen faucet that I brought with me today.
So if we're going to change these faucets or replace the old ones, we're going to need to look at some tools that are going to help us do that. These particular faucets, the tools come in the box to replace it, but the faucets at your house may not be there. So you could use basin wrenches, a basic screwdriver, an adjustable wrench, and maybe a set of channel lock pliers. These are very common tools, and any handy person at home would probably have them in their toolbox.
So we've found our beautiful faucets, and now we're going to install them. So the very first thing we have to do is make sure that there are shut-off valves underneath the sink and make sure that they work. If there is no shut-off valves or they do not work, then you definitely have to call a professional. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to reach in here and turn off the valves. And then we're going to reach up here and make sure that they're shut off and no water is coming out of here. If there's no water coming out of the faucet, then we know that the valves are holding. And let's be honest, we want to make sure that the valves are holding because we do not want any floods. Now we're going to have Justin come over and remove the old faucet.
Would you mind passing me a screwdriver, please?
Sure will.
So we're going to start loosening the set screws up here at the base of the faucets. Sometimes they could be a wrench and sometimes they could just be a screwdriver. This one, I'm going to need both. Ronda, would you mind holding that faucet while I loosen it down here?
Sure can.
Yeah, I'm just going to loosen these set screws a bit. And then I'm going to spin down the tightening nut. And then I'm going to loosen the supply lines. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, unless you're backwards, and then it's the opposite. I always get it mixed up. There we go, got one. There we go, got the second one. Okay, that should be coming loose there now, Ronda, if you were able to pull it up for me. There.
There we go. You didn't get too wet, did you, Justin?
I did get a little bit of water, yeah.
So now that the faucet has been removed, we're going to take a clean rag and just wipe any residue away from the hole. Now we're going to take the faucet and put it into place. Very gently. There we go. And now, Justin, you should be all good to hook it up.
Now that Ronda's put the faucet in place for me, I'm going to tighten it down to the faucet. Something like this can be done by yourself, but it's always good to have someone up top to hold it nice and steady. Do you get it up there, Rhonda?
I sure do.
So I'm going to tighten this up by hand, and I'm going to ensure that when I tighten it to the point where I feel it's tight, I'm going to get Rhonda up there to rock it for me. So every faucet's slightly different, but the basic principle stays the same. We want to get this nice and snug so when they're using the faucet up above, it's not rocking around. So I got that hand tight, and then I'm just going to grab my wrench and give it a slight snug past hand tight. Hey Rhonda, can you give that a shake up there and make sure it's tight enough?
It's perfect. I don't even think my 10-year-old could move this. Now that we have the faucet in place, we are ready to send the hose down to Justin. Are you ready, Justin?
Yeah. I can see it.
Sometimes you just have to wiggle it a little tiny bit here to get her to move down.
There it is. Perfect. I'm going to take that slack down here, Rhonda, and I'm going to get the hoses ready to connect. Okay, time to finish hooking this up. The faucets that were supplied to us today come with their own supply lines. Some faucets that you purchase, you have to put your own supply lines to it, but these were pre-built. And the other good thing about these faucets, the red and blue indicate hot and cold. So when you're looking at the valves underneath your faucet or underneath your sink, typically the cold's always on the right-hand side and the hot's on the left-hand side. So we're just gonna put the color codes accordingly. Cold to the cold and hot to the hot. And the other thing to note with these supply lines is we don't want to over tighten them. We usually only put them on hand tight, and then once they're hand tight, we take a wrench and give it a full turn or maybe even just a quarter turn. We can always tighten after the fact, but if we over tighten them, we could wreck them. So now that the supply lines are hooked up, we're going to finish hooking up the spray hose. So most spray hoses have a weight in order to pull the spray hose down when you slide it in. So Rhonda, can you pass me the weight in the...
Sure can.
Oh, look at that apprentice. Perfect. So we're gonna put on the weight and then we're gonna tighten it up. And like I said, the weight is to pull the hose down when we slide it in through to the faucet. And we should be good to go. Okay. One last connection, and then I can turn the water on. And Rhonda, if you want to test it when we're ready to go, I would appreciate that.
I sure can.
There. Okay, cold and hot. All good to go, Rhonda, if you want to test it now.
All right, let's go.
Did I mix up the hot or cold, or are they both on the right side?
No, it looks perfect. Let's try out this spray nozzle.
Awesome.
Great job, what a team.
So obviously every faucet's going to be different, but hopefully this little tutorial will help you out with your task.
And remember, if you ever get in over your head, always call a professional.
Ask for the card. Make sure they represent that they have the Red Seal certification.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, and stay tuned to this video for some more DIY skills.
Thanks, Rhonda and Justin. Installing a new faucet is a great skill to have, as well as a nice way to spruce up any kitchen or bathroom that you have in your home. My name is Denika Coakley with DC Woodworks. I'm a proud NSCC alumni, and although I am a trained carpenter, I am an avid believer in DIY. As long as you have the right tools, the drive to do it, and you keep your safety in mind. Today, I'm going to show you how to jump on a popular trend of geometric walls using MDF trim and a little bit of paint to change a wall like this behind me into something beautiful. Geo walls, or any accent walls for that matter, is a great way to add interest to your room, and you don't need to be an expert. This project is only going to cost about $200 and just a few hours of your time. To complete a project like this one, you're going to need your measuring tape and a saw. You don't need to be intimidated by the miter saw that I'm using. You can use something a lot smaller, like a circular saw, a hand saw, and a lot of people don't know that if you actually take your product to the hardware store, they will cut it for you. You'll also need a sander. But again, when you're DIYing a project, you don't need to invest in a sander. You can use sandpaper and it'll be just the same. You'll need some caulking and a caulking gun. Another tip though, they do have squeezable versions, so you don't need to invest into the tubes. You'll also need a finishing gun, but again, I don't want you to be intimidated by this. A hammer and nails works just fine. You'll need a level, or you can download the Level app on your phone. Last but not least, you're gonna need your trim. We're using 1x3 MDF. It's really easy to work with, very easy to cut, and it paints up really nicely. So I have found this wall that I really like, and I think it's gonna look great on the wall behind me. So we're gonna start in the bottom right corner with the two pieces that they have. We're gonna keep it very simple and do straight cuts and 45s. That way, if you wanna go any fancier, you can do so, but this is a very great start. So we're gonna start in this corner below, and a tip I have is to avoid all of your electrical boxes. You are able to move them out, to shift them around, but if you don't wanna do that, you don't have to. So if you just keep your measurements up and away from it, so we're at 51. There's no real pattern to this wall also. Kind of just fire the pieces up wherever you feel like you want them to go. 4. And now we'll go and cut those first two pieces. So I'm gonna be using a miter saw today, but if you're not and you're choosing to do it with a hand saw or a circular saw, you're going to use your framing square. So it's got all of your angles marked below, and your 45 is just super easy. You'll hold it on, you'll mark it at your measurement, and you can also use this as a guide to go. So you would hold this on, cut it up, and it works just as well. So now we're going to be cutting our pieces of MDF. If you are using a saw, make sure that you put your ear protection in as well as your eye protection. These count. And now we'll take these inside and we'll add them to the wall. So we have cut our trim, and a very quick and easy tip is to keep all of your cuts on 0 degrees, so basically straight cuts, and then 45s. If you can remember that 4 45s make a full picture frame, that's what makes up your wall. And then your 45s make it a lot easier to connect your bottom to your side. It should fit in nicely, and once you've hit exactly where it is, you can't move it anywhere. It's locking it, it's getting locked in with the wall. And then you can take your extra pieces later on, and wherever they fit in, they will always fit on your 45, right up straight. That one's a bit too short, but you get the gist. You get the gist. So we've got this in. We have avoided the plug, and now we're gonna nail it on. Again, you don't need to be intimidated by the finish nail. You can use a little bit of glue with an extra set of hands to hold it up. You can nail it in with your hammer and nails and it'll go on just fine. Go on the exact same. So I'm just making sure that the difference between the two trims is the exact same. A lot of the times in older homes, or any homes for that matter, they have settled. The drywall makes it uneven. It's not going to be completely plumb. So you want your eye to see that there is the same distance between both pieces of trim. All right, now we can get the rest of the pieces. So I'm gonna go cut a piece that's a little bit longer than this one. And I'm basically going to run it right to the ceiling. I'm gonna do that twice. So you'll grab your measurement. Around 51. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, because if it goes 49.5 or 51.5, you'll just slightly move it up or down until it locks the ceiling and this piece of trim. So you'll need your level for these ones, just to make sure that they are up completely straight. Awesome. So afterwards, once you have your main pieces on, this is when I like to sort of take your extra pieces and figure out if you want one going across, if you want to leave that space there, maybe you have a clock or a picture that you want to put there. You can kind of freehand the wall as you go, which is, I think, a really fun part of it. I always like to add the caulking as I go, because it takes 10 to 15 minutes to dry depending on your inside temperature. But that way, as you move along, once you finish at that end of the wall, you're able to come back here and start painting right away. You don't necessarily have to use this either. You will be able to paint, to fill a lot of your gaps with paint. But it's a really good way to make sure that the trim meets the wall. Again, a lot of drywall, especially in homes that are anywhere older than a year, is going to bow, is going to swell, so that way you can make sure that everything touches and that you don't have any black lines, especially if you're using a light paint like we're going to today. So when you're using caulking, make sure that you cut it on a 45. The smaller the hole, the better. That way you don't have an excess amount. Keep your fingers clean, run it along the line. It's actually really easy to add onto your wall. It dries really quickly and you're not even gonna know it's there. It just looks a little bit funny in the beginning. And you can take the excess that's on your finger and you can just put it into the nail holes. So I like to use caulking where the trim meets the wall, but I do prefer to use wood fill in the grooves that are all on the MDF, because then you can sand them and paint them up. You are not able to sand caulking. Put a little bit on your finger, just sort of jam it in the crease and wipe it off. Or wait and use your sandpaper. You can do it to your wall as you have it out. That way everything paints up nice and fresh. So now that we have all of the trim on the wall, we're gonna get ready and do some painting prep. We're going to take the cover plates off the electrical boxes, and since we're painting the wall white, we're also gonna update that as well. You just need a flathead screwdriver. New cover plates are about $1 each, and it'll blend right in. So today we are painting the wall white, and we're gonna be using an angle brush. I'm gonna go in and around all of the pieces of trim because it's really hard to get your roller in the small areas. I will cut in. Feel free to put painter's tape on if you need to. I paint a lot, so I'm fairly confident with my skills. And then we're gonna roll the larger pieces. We'll do it all again, and we'll stage it so you can see how beautiful and fun this wall is. And just like that, now that the paint is dry and we've styled it, you can see the big impact it makes in your space. I hope this was a lesson that you can take something away from and maybe do it in your own home. Happy 25th anniversary, NSCC.